This is starting. We're live. We're live.
Hey.
All right. What's
What
up?
up?
Random Red Man Group show. Welcome to this broadcast. Doesn't include an episode. It's just, I guess, the founding members of the Red Man Group getting together to try to give a little bit back beyond the Saturday episodes. We have some announcements tonight, and we'll be on for a little bit of Q&A. We don't have a call-in segment, unfortunately, but we'll be able to take questions through chat or preferably super chat if you want to support the creation of the content. So who wants to go to do their updates first? Because there's a few announcements that we've got.
I'll pop a few off, and then we can kind of bounce around.
Oh, you guys go first, because I think it's really, this should be more about Red Man Group than anything else.
Totally.
And 21, yeah.
Well, the first one that came to mind, the first two were actually the Patreon we have and the Reddit. The subreddit, but specifically, Rollo, you're really familiar with Reddit. I joined about 2 years ago when I found your work in the Red Pill. And I've been using Reddit a lot more since then, obviously, for the convention and getting involved with the Red Pill. But we have actually our own, Ryan Stone actually set up our own Red Man Group subreddit community. So I thought you could talk a little bit about that, because all of us are moderators on it now.
Sure.
And that's growing, and that's also done in the exact same place at the same time that the Red Pill got quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a link for the Red Man Group subreddit?
It's in the video description.
Is it on the, yeah, I was going to say it's down there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beneath the video. Everybody watching.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I've always been kind of more involved in forums ever since I started writing. If you know anything about my past, I used to be a moderator for a forum called SoSwap, and that's really where I did a lot of my work. And I prefer a forum kind of format. If anybody was familiar with my own Patreon or some of my other announcements, I think I made back in like June or something, I was on the cusp of creating my own forum anyways, but things have kind of changed a little bit with the Red Man Group, and just a lot of things, a lot of political stuff has sort of shifted in the last gosh, I don't know, probably the last month, 2 months right now. As everybody probably knows, the Red Pill subreddit has been quarantined. There's a lot of rumors swirling around it. I had a guy at the 21 convention come up to me and sort of privately say that the reason that it got quarantined was because there were credible links or credible, I don't know, oversight of the forum, because they said that there was in some way like Russian hackers or Chinese hackers or something like that were trying to get in. I don't know if you talked to that guy. I'm not going to name any names. I don't know how much to believe about that, but it seemed like it might have been. But then I kind of thought, why would they go and redirect to Stony Brook University? So if you don't know the story about the subreddit, the Red Pill subreddit, it's been around for a very long time. I mean, at least as long as I have had my blog out, and I've sort of had this kind of marriage between the Rational Male and the Red Pill subreddit for a very long time. And now, you know, we got to about 300,000 subs, and they decided to quarantine it. Some people were saying it was because of what was going down with the elections and all of the censorship that had been going on. It kind of came at a very odd time, considering what happened with Roosh, considering what happened with just the things that were going on.
It was the day after Kavanaugh, I think, right?
Yeah, it was the Kavanaugh hearing. Yeah, exactly. And so
really,
there's a lot of stuff going on with that right now. We're kind of in a really weird space, I think, as a community, because according to my sources, also there's been sort of a Twitter purge of MGTOWs on Twitter. That was the result of a CNN article or a CNN piece that was just done, and I can't remember the chick's name. I'm sure somebody will remind me in the chat here, but she's the chick that talks about sex and culture and all that other stuff. Kind of, I think she's like half Chinese or something like that. Chick, I can't remember her name.
Sarah Young?
Maybe that's it.
Let's just call her the hot feminist Asian.
Yeah, the feminist Asian from CNN. Yeah. So, anyways, there's that going on. Roosh decided to close his doors with Return of Kings, and that's leaving a lot of a really huge vacuum right now.
We're seeing communities, basically we're seeing communities die off or get picked off, basically censored.
Yeah, Lisa Ling, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was going to actually right around August, I was going to start my own forum and I was going to update my own blog, but then a lot of this other stuff started coming down, and then you and I and Rich have sort of come together to make the Red Man Group a little bit more serious. So rather than go forward with my own forum right now, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to dedicate it to the Reddit, the RMG Reddit right now. If you can see the links down there, that's where we're going to talk about the show. I want to get some more engagement there. I don't, I'm not saying that it's ever going to be a replacement for the Red Pill sub, because that's 300,000 subscribers right there. And
History too.
yeah, and there's a lot of history there. All of my links for my, well, not my books, but my most important posts, I think, all were basically part of the sideboard for the Red Pill sub for a very, very long time. And so now that's gone, and there's a lot of other things that are kind of a little bit screwy right now with Amazon. Amazon just bought out Create Space, which is my primary way of producing books right now. And so what that's done is it's brought everybody who was an author who use Create Space under the Amazon umbrella. And so as a result of that, we're also subject to their censorship and their vetting right now. So that's I just don't know what to think right now. So, but as far as the forum is concerned, there will not be a Rational Male forum anytime soon, but I would very much like to see the Red Man Group forum sort of take its place, and I would like to see the conversation start over there and maybe get something else going. We're talking about a lot of other, I think. Go.
For all the guys watching too, if you want a community for the Red Man Group and you're like a true fan of this show, that's where you need to go. There's the Red Man Group subreddit. Mm-hmm. That's the number one place to go. But
I guess I'll have to set up a login for Reddit, because I don't usually use that. I'm not much of a forum engagement type of guy. Like, I run my own private community, and there's a lot of discussion there. So I'm okay with with the typing. I'm more of a video sort of guy. But I'll have to figure out how that works.
It's weird too, because I've got a lot. I'm kind of dipping my feet into the pool of video a little bit more these days. I just started my own channel. I've got 3 new videos up now. I've just been doing it for 3 weeks. I'm starting it out with Pat Campbell right now. We're just sort of doing a Red Pill 101, which is sort of a remedial, if you're a newbie to the Red Pill, my work, whatever, that's the place to go if you have questions about just the basics from the first book. Yeah. And I'm going to be doing a little bit more with that in the future, but
hey, we got Sam Bada.
Oh, there's Sam. Hey.
Hey, Sam. How are you?
What's going on, Sammy?
I'm going to be doing a little bit more with that in the future.
Oh, Sam, mute your. You got to put a headset on, buddy.
I'm gonna mute him.
Yeah,
there we go.
Hey, let me say this too. For those of you guys who are on YouTube all the time, posting comments, arguing with people, interacting, commenting, all that stuff. If you're not familiar with Reddit or using Reddit, Reddit's a great place, particularly the Red Man Group subreddit, to actually join other fans of the Red Man Group show, 21 Studios, Entrepreneurs in Cars, all those guys. That's like going to be the number one spot until they ban us, for so many years from now, to interact with the fans. And you can interact like in an ongoing process. I'll post there sometimes, already do. Rollo's super active on Reddit, and so is Ryan Stone. And Carl, too.
Yeah, that's actually where Ryan and I met up. And it's not just, I should also say, it's just because the Red Pill sub is quarantined right now. There's still a lot of good Red Pill forums that are maybe not as wide as subscribed, but there's like the Married Man one is still there. RMG is there now. So we're gonna there's a big vacuum that's happened, and we're talking about how we can sort of get involved in all of that. So.
Is it mostly a discussion type of forum, or is it a place where you post like essays and articles?
It's both right now. You can post links, you can post videos, images, or discussion stuff like essays and stuff. Rollo can post a summary of a post or a whole post if he wants.
Got it. So if there's like a best of Red Man Group episode clip that focuses on one specific topic for like 8 minutes, you can link that and start discussion on that point, or if somebody wants to
and it's way better. It's way better than YouTube comments. YouTube comments are a fucking shit show in 10 different ways. Reddit is not perfect, but it's a lot better way to discuss with other fans, speakers, stuff like that. Okay, so it's pretty cool.
Cool. All right.
Like, except the SJW crap, it's pretty good.
All right. Good. What other updates and announcements do we have, guys? Because I got a few too that I got to go through. I got to go through the Patreon as well.
Just let me run this out real quick, because I know this is why Sam wanted to come on. We have just got the approval. Actually, about a week ago, we got the approval for the audio for book 3. So if you're here and you want to ask questions about that, it's coming. We had to re-edit a little bit of stuff for audio, whatever they're being kind of picky about, which was fine. We were a little bit concerned maybe it was because they were a little sketchy about putting out my content, but it seems that it's okay. It got approved, and that was last week. And they said to us that it takes anywhere between 10 and 14 days for it to go live on retail. And as soon as it does, I will make a huge, big, gigantous announcement about it. So yes, book 3 audio is coming, and it should be within the next week.
Badass. I got some quick announcements I can pop out, Rich, before you hop on yours.
Yeah.
So number 1, the tentative date as of right now for an iTunes launch of Redman Group. iTunes audio launch across other platforms too. That should be November 24th, the same day we do the show that day. That's a Saturday. No, so not this Saturday, the 17th, but next Saturday, the 24th, November. Stay tuned for that. We'll give you guys more updates on the show for that. So if you guys want audio of the show like we used to do on 21 Radio on iTunes, we'll have that now dedicated to Redman Group. We're going to focus on getting the current episodes, the most recent ones, and then eventually we'll have all of them, all 41 at this point we'll have. So that's coming real soon. And we'll need your help with that too when we get that going. It's not just to download it, of course, to go download it. But the minute we launch it, we have like a 2-week window to post reviews for it and share it as much as you can. So the first 2 weeks after November 24th, you can leave like a review, kind of like Amazon, 5 stars, love Redman Group, whatever you want to write. That's much appreciated. It actually helps the show a lot. It can actually help to grow in the rankings, huge.
Big time. It'll definitely get us in front of new eyeballs, because they'll recommend the podcast to potential new viewers that have consumed similar sort of content. So the concept's basically considered like a thunderclap. So everybody kind of contributes to promoting or commenting on the new podcast, which gets it pushed out a little bit further.
Yep. So that's coming up November 24th. We'll give you guys more updates on the show leading up to that date and on Twitter and stuff. In addition to that, we will very soon, I think this Sunday, we'll have episode 34. Basically, the special episodes. There's 3 special episodes of the Redman Group from the 21 convention this year on the bonus day. We call it RMG Live.
Redman Live.
Redman Live. And the first one is almost done. We've been working on that night and day, getting those perfected, ready to launch. So I know you guys have been wondering where those went. We took them down because the live stream was not intended to be long-term, just like literally just live and that's it. But the final episodes will be up very soon. They're going to launch all over YouTube, stuff like that. Stay tuned. It'll be free right away. We'll post it on 21 University too, but the same day it'll post on YouTube across different channels and stuff. So that's coming up soon. And then the other 2 episodes will follow very soon after that as well. Also, another thing too, before we get into Patreon, if you go to the channel, the Redman Group right now, the Redman Group channel, look on the top right, and also in the video description, you'll see links to our account for Redman Group on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. Check those out. They're not quite as important as the Redman Group on Reddit and on Patreon, but if you want to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you can now do that. We have an official account for the organization or for the group itself. So check those out. Give them a follow, give them a share, everything like that. The Twitter's pretty big. We have like 1,300 or something like that. But Instagram, Facebook's all ready to roll too. Finally, for those of you curious about 2018 content from the 21 convention, we're hauling ass on that, starting with the Redman Group right away. Those are the first 3 episodes we're focusing on. After that, we're putting out Rollo's keynote, the State of the Manosphere. The best talk, in my opinion, from 2018. Rollo was absolutely fucking on fire. It was really, really awesome. It was very odd because I'm so young compared to him. I'm 30 versus 50, but I was proud of him. He killed it as a speaker. And for everyone I talked to, attendees and speakers alike, everyone was really impressed. Rollo stepped his game way up, and that'll be launching.
I didn't sound like Gran Torino.
No, man, you were lit, man. I saw the most of your speech out of all the speeches. I don't see that much. I usually see of a talk 10 to 20% of it, maybe 30. I saw about 40 to 50% of your talk, and it was 90 minutes. It was long, and it was awesome. The content, the intensity, the skill. You bumped your skill way up.
I worked hard on that.
Fuck yeah, you did well. And we got his report out too. You guys can see that. All the reports are actually going out first too. Those are easier to export and get done with. But so yeah, we got the reports coming out soon. We got Rollo's up. We got the RMG coming up soon. That'll be on all the channels. Rollo's speech will be out first. Then after that, we'll release them slowly over the weeks and months, like we do usually. the publication pipeline. That's all I got for that. You can check it out at 21 University and on our YouTube channel. And also, if you join 21 University through the description in this video link on Redman Group, you support Redman Group in the process of joining 21 University. We give an affiliate kickback to Redman Group. So it's a good way to join it, totally support it. And you can support both corporations or organizations that way. There you go.
Cool. Okay, so announcements. Well, I got basically two. One on the Redman Group side, so we'll start with that. The Patreon community that we've created is starting to grab some momentum. So if you guys really enjoy what we're doing and you've been watching the episodes and contributing in the comments and chat, you've got the opportunity to, one, financially support the creation of the content on Patreon. There's two tiers. We're just going to keep it simple. The first one's, simple, easy, and cheaper. You just, throw in some bucks at the program monthly so we can continue to produce this. I mean, there's some production costs along the way, especially when we have, higher end protocols put out. This is something that we've talked about, the three of us, about doing for a very long time. So we don't anticipate stopping or changing anything anytime soon. And then the next tier up is the monthly live Q&A session. There's only a handful of those that have been purchased so far. There's no limit to them right now. We may have to cap it if it gets busy. I've had to do that on my own private community. So right now it's wide open. Now would be a good time to get in if you want to get in on monthly calls. It'll probably be at least two of the panelists on the monthly live Q&A. It'll be private, so it'll be hosted for patrons only. So if you're having a hard time calling in, you're not getting recognized in the chat comments or whatever, for $10 a month, not only do you support the creation of the content, but you have access to the panelists for a monthly Q&A to dive into a private sort of discussion. So that's on the Redman Group side. On my own personal side, for my own channel for Entrepreneurs in Cars, when I was in Florida, Dr. Sean Smith and I were talking about, how do you reach guys before they get into the train wreck, because it's usually the mess that pushes men to the red pill. It's usually the trauma, and they go seeking answers. And we were discussing ways to maybe get to these guys before they slam into the wall and go through the divorce machine, lose the farm, all the bad shit that goes down. Because I mean, we've talked to enough guys that have had the noose around their neck or the gun in their mouth, and we want to try to reach those guys before they get to that point. So Sean and I are going to put a show together on my channel. We're probably going to call it something like Before the Train Wreck. It's going to be a call-in show where you'll be able to call in and vet or ask questions about things that might appear sticky, might be smoke signals, usually where there's smoke, there's fire sort of thing. So you can present those sort of questions to a guy that's qualified and a guy that's not really qualified, but kind of like is very attentive to things that happen on the landscape. So that'll be launching soon in the next couple of weeks. I just have to figure out how to incorporate a different kind of mic from the one that we're using on Donovan's setup with Blog Talk Radio. So there's a little bit of a complexity in the setup, but we should have that up and running soon. So look for the announcement there. Do we have anything else on Redman Group that we got to announce before we start doing Q&A?
Yeah, someone just popped in the comments about the Poland 21 convention. So guys, with 21 convention tickets for 2019, they're not publicly on sale yet. They won't be for a number of weeks. If you stay tuned to the show and on Twitter, any of our Twitters, my Twitter, Rich's Twitter, Roll's Twitter, anybody's Twitter, you will see announcements in the weeks to come for tickets. But 2019 tickets are not on sale yet unless you were an attendee to 2018. Those guys can get tickets. We're working with those guys. Other than that, when we're working like 15 hours a day still, just cranking shit out. The company's like exploding in a number of very positive ways. Next year, we're actually fundamentally improving both events. We're changing some things up, adding in workshops, and we're doing 2 events like this guy mentioned in the chat. We're doing a convention in Poland, the 21 convention 4-day event, Poland, July 2019. And Orlando, again, is going to be in November 2019. A lot of the same speakers, a lot of new guys, even bigger and better than ever. And it's going to be fucking awesome. But tickets are not on sale yet.
And then the year after that, you've got the 22 convention for women.
Oh, yeah. We got Make Women Great Again, 22Con, 22 convention. And I have both Richard and Rollo confirmed for that event. Excited to speak at it. Doc Smith's also going to speak at it. And we'll eventually pack it out with a whole, awesome, buffet of speakers.
Yeah, it's going to kick ass.
And it's all male speakers. We're not actually sure if men are going to be allowed to attend it yet. But if you got girlfriends, wives, sisters that want to go, I actually saw an attendee today from 2018. He said he's buying a ticket for his sister to the event in 2020. He seemed pretty serious too, so we'll see.
Nice, sweet. All right, so let's do some Q&A. If you guys have some questions, we don't have a call-in option right now, but if you have questions, you can pop them in the chat. It might get busy. We do love super chats, so if if you want to contribute to the creation of the Red Man Group content, feel free to make a donation, ask a question, and we'll be here to answer some questions you guys throw at us. So fire away. Why is it named the 21 Convention?
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that one is directed to me. So that's two different reasons for that. The first one is the convention started, the first name was the Under 21 Convention. I was 17 when I started building it. I just got out of high school a few weeks later. I was very young, 17 years old. And I wanted to do a convention for guys, or meetup group for guys my age or about my age, 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe 22. And that was basically where the name came from, Under 21. As I kept repeating the event, because guys kept asking for it, I actually wasn't supposed to keep doing the event. I was just going to do it one time. And the attendees of the convention were like, hey, when's the next event? And I was like, that's a great question. How about next year, same time? Everyone's like, shit, yeah, let's do it. But eventually a couple years went by and I was about to be 21 and I was like, shit, what do I do? And I kind of had like a little crisis with renaming it because I was like, what am I going to call it? The Under and Over 21 Convention? It's a horrible name. And then just one night after thinking about it for a few weeks, I chopped out the Under and had the 21 Convention. So basically the origin is Under 21 Convention, and eventually I simplified it to the 21 Convention when I made the event, not just for young men, but for all men, 18, 30, 40, 50. We even have guys that attend in their 60s and 70s sometimes. So that's where the name came from. It fits with the century, fortunately, so we can call it in the case of 22 Convention, the mansplaining event of the century. But in the case of the 21 Convention, we call it the men's conference of the century, the men's event of the century. And it is. There's nothing else in the world this badass for men in a live event experience like that. It is fucking awesome, especially when you focus on the scale like that. We had over 200 guys at the event. And that was, we had guys saying it felt like 1776. And while that seems maybe exaggerated if you weren't there, that was the emotional experience of it. It was really, really intense.
Yeah.
So that's where the name came from. And that's it.
All right. So we got a couple questions here. Let's start ripping through them. Just real quick to answer about the train wreck. It's not going to be on the website. It's going to be on my channel. So it'll be a free show on my channel at Entrepreneurs and Cars. There's another question just above that. Do you guys think this is the peak of feminism? What do you guys think about that?
No, I don't.
Not even close, right?
No, I don't.
How much worse is
that.
it going to get? Like I was talking to Donovan earlier today about getting this soundboard set up with Blog Talk Radio, and we're looking at these connectors, like male female connectors, and I was telling him, I'm like, how long is it going to be before feminism fucks that up too? And when you go to Amazon looking for male female connectors, they won't be called that anymore.
Yeah,
Z connectors.
Yeah, Zer. No, I think that it's honest, and I hate to sound pessimistic about this, but I really think that at the rate things are going, every time I think, oh man, it can't get any worse than this, then it gets worse. Okay, I mean, this time last year, we would not have thought that Me Too would have been weaponized to the point that it is right now. To seeing where, I mean, basically Me Too is directing the social and political discourse of this country right now. So when people say, oh, do you think it's the pendulum has swung, back, and is it coming back the other way? I really wish it was. But I keep seeing, I mean, thank God Hillary Clinton is not the president right now. Yeah. Because what would that be like? But here's the thing, is that because she's not the president right now, it almost seems like it throws more fuel on the fire to top Me Too. Like what's going to happen after that? Honestly, I think
I was talking to Jack Murphy about this about a week ago. I did an hour live with him on my channel, and I asked him if he thought that there was a civil war coming, and he said, well, we're in a Cold War right now. And I agree with that. Like, we're in a distinct Cold War where, I mean, like that whole Kavanaugh thing was an epic example of Cold Warfare.
Have you guys seen this book? I think Rollo, I saw this book on his Twitter. It's called Damn, How to Destroy a Man Now. It's sick.
I've seen the link to that. That's disgusting. You can buy that off Amazon too, right? Come on Bigfoot's face.
Dude, you can't even get through 5 pages of this shit. And it's like, you want to just, it makes you viscerally fucking angry. It's horrible. I can't believe this is on Amazon. It's fucking disgusting.
Could you imagine if there was like a male equivalent of that?
Yeah. I'll say this, so let me play devil's advocate. So I think I agree with Rollo, it's going to get worse, but I also think feminism is actually starting to overplay its hand. They're pushing outside the open window, going after like the presumption of innocence. They went too far with that. and then we were managed to barely protect it in the U.S. Senate at 50-48 vote to confirm Kavanaugh, right?
That was
So I
so
think
close. That was too
It was
close.
it was way too fucking close. But I think that's actually starting to get people who are moderates, so to speak, politically and independent, and then maybe culturally, if there's an equivalent to that. So I think it's actually good in some ways that they're so amped up because of Trump and all that, because Hillary didn't win. So they're amped up and the tension's really high, and that's kind of alarming. But it's almost like a fire that's burning hotter and hotter and hotter, and then eventually it's going to burn itself out, hopefully. Especially if we can usher that along.
Yeah. Rollo, there's a question there. There's a super chat from JC. Thank you for the $10 super chat. It's geared towards spinning plates. You want to hit on that?
Sure. What is it?
He followed up with a small comment because he ran out of chat too.
Yeah, go ahead and read that for me.
Rollo, you talk about spinning plates without sleeping with them. As Anthony points out, once you stick your dick in a chick, you start to think emotionally. So my question will be in chat. Where is this question?
It's a little bit down. I can read it.
JC. Yeah, go ahead, read it.
So JC continues, I have a bad habit of sleeping with women on the first or second meetup. Is there a way I can express sexual intent and build a romantic relationship without getting sexual right away? So I can ...
do a better job of vetting women.
Do a better job, yeah.
How old is this guy? Like 27? Is that what he said?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
he sounds like he's in his 20s.
Well, okay. First off, this sounds to me like it's one of these guys who is having sort of this moral conundrum right now. Like, it's like, oh, I can get laid all I want, but I can't start something that is, deep and meaningful. It's like it's the meaningful sex question is what it is.
He's 42.
42. Okay. Well, and that sort of changes things up
He's doing pretty good for 42.
Yeah, it's pretty good for 42. Why? My question is why does that disturb you? Like I got guys that I tend to get this question from moralists a lot. They'll say, I'm done with having this meaningless sex. It's like, and then my joke is I've never had meaningless sex. I meant to fuck every girl that I ever fucked. Right. And it's I get it. I get that there's this idea that you have to feel some sort of, connection with the universe every time you have sex, but that's you can have sex and not have this, have this emotional connection. Okay. I mean, guys do this all the time. That's one of the things I think that, I think guys tend to have this capacity to compartmentalize sex and then also, and compartmentalize their emotions.
I think that sex, evolutionary speaking, is not an emotional event. It's event to spread.
Biological event.
Yeah, it's a biological event. It's not an emotional thing. So I mean,
well, then we want to tie things to it and say, well, what's the appropriate context for having sex? Well, I mean, obviously,
that's the whole Disney-esque blue pill thinking, isn't it?
Well, it is.
Sex is my dick getting hard.
It is. Well, I mean, but think about it this way. Why is it? Why would it be that men would have and I'm going to throw this out there. I think why would men have an evolved mental firmware that allows them to dissociate feelings from the sexual act? And the reason for that is because our evolved sexual strategy was so different than what women's are. Okay, so women's sexual strategy is based around hypergamy, right? So it's quality, but men's is unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. That's why our sex is always on. If we see a hot chick, we get a hard on and we want to go and we want to hit it right then. Because in our evolutionary past, that was what was expedient. That's what made it, hit it and quit it and get out of there quick, because her husband might be around and might try to kill you, right? So there's dangers in the environment. So you had to be able to get in, get off, and get going. That's one of the reasons why we laugh about a guy who's like a quote unquote 2-pump chump, right? The guy who can get in, get off, and get out, right? And there's a reason why guys are like that. It's because in our evolutionary past, that was what was reproductively expedient. So when you throw in this other stuff with parental investment, and you lean over into women's sexual strategy, when men are locked down in monogamy because obviously it's better for a child to have two parents. Well, what happens then is a man must compromise or abandon his sexual strategy to complete that woman's sexual strategy. And that's when you start saying, well, what's a good woman like, or what's a meaningful sex, and all of this stuff that you're throwing on top of the sex act. That's, if that's what you want to do, fine. I get it. I understand why you want to do that, but understand that you're doing that because you're trying to justify, or trying to, I should say, reconcile, why it is that you would be compromising your sexual strategy to complete the sexual strategy of another woman. And the reason for that is because it's better for a child to have two kids. It's better for a man who knows that the kid is his and is not getting cucked, and for him to invest himself in that situation. So in this day and age, we're very hesitant about that because of divorce, because of Me Too, because of the feminine primary social order, because of the gynocracy, all this other stuff. We have this in the back of our heads right now because it's a much parental investment today, which, if you want to call that monogamy or you want to call that marriage, it is a much riskier prospect for guys these days. So if you're going to throw all of this moralism on top of the sex act, okay, go ahead. But just understand the reason that you're doing that is because you understand in your hind brain that you have to compromise your own sexual strategy to complete hers. And you're really hoping to God that she's not playing you, or you're not going to be the, adopting children that weren't your own. And even that today is
I think that's one of the things that I was pulling from his question, because he was talking about quality and vetting. And I think it's like, if you find that the quality of women that you're encountering is shit, which it mostly is when you're in your 40s, especially your early 40s. I mean, if you got your shit together, and even if you went through the divorce machine and didn't get completely raped and still maintain your wealth for the most part, have good access to your kids, have your head on, screwed on right, you're going to find a lot of women that you meet on the sexual marketplace are really not worth, more than one or two dates, or like you pointed out, like a short-term sort of relationship. And that's okay. Give yourself permission to walk away if
non-exclusivity serves men so much better than just like monkey branching or being a serial monogamist. If you can keep women at arm's distance, it doesn't mean you have to fuck everyone. I mean, you can if you want, fine. But
well, that's what I wanted to tag on here. Someone mentioned Sean Smith's book as a recommendation to him in the chat, and Sean Smith talks about slowing down thing. So what I want to say is basically, if this guy wants to slow anything down, do not slow down the sex. First, second date, fantastic. Great. Slow down all the stuff that happens after that.
Yeah.
Any kind of emotional advancement, any kind of her pushing it in a certain direction, nope. Slow down or you're out.
One of the things that I pulled out of Sean's book, and we were talking about this too, is that women can act for a good 16 to 18 months. So you can't really identify if she's good LTR material or wife stock, even if that's where you're going with things, without spending a good amount of time with her, because women can pretend, they can act, they can put up a facade. So don't worry about it. Basically it's spin plates, the cream will rise to the top, the crap will fall off. Just have some fun, make sure you wear a condom, just be careful out there. That's all.
Yep. We got some more super chats too here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's hit the next one. So we got one from Riddall. Thank you for the $13.99 super chat. He says, Rolo, you said men don't become men until they're at least 30. As a guy in his mid-20s, what should I be doing to make the most of my time to be a high-value man once I hit 30?
Build yourself up. What do you want to do? Find your passion. Find your path, man. Build yourself. It's funny is like I've always said, guys need to make themselves their mental point of origin. And I think that people just think, oh, okay, I'll just start doing that. No, you don't just start doing. You have to live that every day, and you have to catch yourself. You have to catch yourself not doing that. You have to catch yourself being, your old school, beta self. There's a lot more work that goes with that. So what, it's one of the reasons I don't give prescriptions, and people get pissed off at me because I don't have like 12 rules for life by Rollo Tomasi, right? It's because that everybody's fucking different, and far be it from me to tell, people from all walks of life that here's some sort of formulaic rules that you can, live a successful life about. Okay. If you're passionate about art, if you're passionate about business, if you're passionate about whatever, find out what it is that you're good at. Get out there. And here's the other thing I kept telling guys, go out and compete. Learn to get into competition. So many guys are just like, I mean, especially in this day and age, the last 3 or 4 generations have been raised to be such non-competitive pansies that
let's give everybody a participation trophy.
Yeah, go out. Like, what was it? Tan or Guzzi was saying that he went and got his ass kicked just recently. He decided he was going to go be a boxer or something, and he had his first like competitive fight, and he got his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
But he was happy as shit because he went out there and he actually did that and he competed in some way. And
I like Rich is saying too. Rich says, do the work. I mean,
Yeah.
dude, in your late 20s, you need to do the work with women, with business. Focus on your business, your career, whatever you're doing. Do the work.
I was going to say, like, I didn't want to interrupt on that role, but I'll be a little more prescriptive and say, learn how to think for yourself. I get so many fucking messages from guys in their 20s, young men, that ask me that, like, I'm just going to call them the stupidest fucking things, because it's like, hey, I'm 21, I'm dating this single mother with 2 kids, and she's 25. Do you think it's bad for me to keep sleeping with her without being honest about my intentions and not being, not marrying her? It's like, really? Like, you need to fucking ask a random stranger on fucking Instagram when you slide in his DMs questions like that? Like, guys need to learn how to think for themselves and like build the foundation of their lives, because what do women like? They want strong, competent, virtuous, masculine men.
Yes.
Go do things that allow you to, project those qualities outwardly to the world, and don't do it for women. Do it for yourself. I mean, women should be the byproduct of you chasing your own excellence, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that women should only ever be a complement to a man's life and never the focus of it. So what is the focus of your life? What are you going to focus on? What are you going to do? Compete.
Well, they got to take both of your guys' advice and like do that, and then listen to Rich. Think for yourself. You have to figure out what that is. You can't have someone on YouTube tell you that. You have to figure it out.
Yeah, it's just bonkers how many questions I get that seem so simple to me. I mean, I'm 45, but I mean, they seem so simple and understood to me. But guys in their 20s, they can't fucking think for themselves. Like, your intuition's telling you not to wife up the single mommy with 2 kids that's 25 years old. Why are you asking me stupid questions, right?
Well, it's almost not even like thinking. It's like they don't want to make a choice. They're presented with options in life, time,
scary to make choices, right?
Yeah, make hard choices. Do the hard work.
Yeah,
I do that. I do that through my convention every year. And by the way, I want to co-sign exactly what these guys said. I just hit 30, 6 weeks ago or something like that. 100%. You need to listen to what these guys are saying. Focus on yourself. Focus on your career. Focus on your business. Focus on your future. Bang as many women as you can without that derailing higher values with business and life and stuff. And watch out for the train wrecks.
Yeah, definitely avoid the train wrecks. We got a super chat here from Subject A for $10. Thank you very much. This looks like it's geared towards Rollo. It says, discussing religion. What do you think of blue/red pill ideas with regards to Satanism, Luciferism, Luciferianism, whatever that is, Freemasonry, which isn't a religion as far as I understand, and alternative pagan religions? I've noticed I guess it's Rollo Tomasi sometimes wears a Thor's hammer.
This is your JQ moment, Rollo. Your JQ.
No, I'm not.
No, Rollo. Go ahead, man.
God, man, I got asked this question on the last. I forget the guys' names. Borzoi and Stryker, those guys that I did that last interview with. I think it's called like the Family Square or the Town Square. I can't remember the name of it. But the first thing the guy asked me out the gate is like, "Why do you wear that Thor's hammer? Are you like into white national paganism?" And I'm like, no, I just happen to be Scandinavian, and that was something that it's kind of we were kind of talking about this with myself and Steve Williams and Donovan. We were talking about our last names and the importance of a last name, right? And so I was like, well, I've got on my shoulder, I have a tattoo of my family's coat of arms, and I had a Thor's hammer. God, if I knew it was going to be such a big fucking deal, I wouldn't have worn it. But it's just part of my heritage. It's just part of, my background. It's not that I have any particular affinity for heathen. I'm not going to, as much as I like Jack Donovan, I don't know that he would probably accept me into his tribe. I love him to death, right? But
so,
I think my religious beliefs are a little bit, but
Lucifer worshiping Satan.
I should say this though. That is going to be a topic of the 4th book that I'm working on right now. It's not going to be Luciferianism or anything, but it's going to be about the red pill and religion. And this book it's assimilating and absorbing my life right now. So it's like, I have to be really careful about I don't want to step on other people's religion. I don't want to step on other people's, what they believe, because a lot of what the red pill gets into, there's a lot of crossover between religions and how different religions handle things like, say, or they act as buffers, I should say, against a sexual marketplace, or they act as buffers against like hypergamy. There's a lot of crossover from red pill principles throughout. I mean, you would probably think so after, how many years of human history that, religion has been around. There's going to be aspects of men and women coming together and creating families and doing everything.
I mean, look at the Abrahamic religions. It's all based on Adam and Eve stuff, right?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, you're looking at that's funny you should say that, because I was just writing about Genesis about a day ago. But yeah, I think that just the best way I can answer that question is wait for the fourth book.
Okay.
That's the short version of that.
So we got another super chat below that from Garrett Sobel. He says, can you address if feminism is a result of the utopian mice experiment? It seems like it's just a side effect of overpopulation. Is this feminism thing supposed to be thinning out the herd? It doesn't seem like it is. It seems like it's just destroying the world.
I think that a lot of guys think that feminism is some sort of outcropping of like social Marxism, or it's some kind of they want to apply. I see this want or this desire to, in some way, incorporate red pill thought, or sort of waking yourself up to the political and social aspects of feminism, as far as the red pill applies to that. There's a lot of guys that want to apply that thought to be a confirmation of their political ideology.
Yep.
And I get it. I understand why you want to do that. I think that that is really more of a question for a political forum rather than a red pill forum. I don't put it this way. I don't think people think that feminism was designed to be some social institution or social mechanism to destroy society, or to destroy Western culture, or to destroy the family. And yes, I understand. Yeah, of course, it can be that. Was it designed to be that, or is it just easy to do that because empowering women and disempowering men is the easiest way to destabilize a society? Yeah, okay, I get that, but none of those principles and none of the stuff that none of that ideological stuff that you're talking about exists unless there is the biological and the evolved aspects of men and women. So that's why I think that it exists together, but I think that it should also exist apart.
Rollo, let me throw this up for Rollo. Rollo, someday I think you should consider doing an essay or a speech on feminism, micro to macro. You killed it with hypergamy, micro to macro, because I think that would clear a lot of this up. Feminism, micro to macro. From the individual, from the personal relationship to
feminism doesn't work unless women are hypergamous. Feminism doesn't work unless women are the way that they are. And feminism doesn't work unless the sexual marketplace or the intersexual dynamics are the way that they are. Okay.
Yeah, you have beta facilitator, like that vote of one guy.
So is it some sort of horrible socialist Marxist plot that is designed to destroy and destabilize society? Yeah, maybe, but none of that works unless men are like they are and women are like they are. We have our evolved parts of us that make us who we are. I mean, that's right now. We were talking about have we reached peak feminism right now? I said no, and one of the biggest reasons I say no is because there is still this huge resistance against this idea of blank slate equalism. And so when you look at the hard sciences right now that are being compromised by feminist ideology, and it just I don't even call it feminist ideology. It's not even feminism. It's just feminine primary, thought. It's feminine primary, a social order that is pushing that agenda on even the hard sciences right now. So, you can put out a paper on astrophysics or something some hard concrete science, and they'll go, well, we're going to dismiss this because you didn't account for the women who would be in astrophysics. And it's like, where it just gets lost down a memory hole. Or I won't say is it Quillette that Claire does? I can't remember. I read this really great article about how feminism, well, they call it feminism, feminine primary thought, feminism is compromising our scientific process right now. We can't do experiments without thinking, well, how's this going to affect women? And that, I think, is getting very, very dangerous right now. I think one of the reasons why you see guys like Jordan Peterson or Steven Pinker or who's the other guy, Jeff, the guy that Jack Murphy just interviewed, Jeff Miller. You know, these guys, I mean, Jeff Miller is a professor at New Mexico State University, NMU or something like that. And he's there because he got kicked out of his old tenure because he wasn't feminist enough, or he wasn't accommodating enough to that faction within his old college. I don't think it might have been Harvard. I can't remember, but he got kicked out, and the new place he's at is New Mexico.
Yeah, it's interesting that that we're talking about this a lot, because the next question in the super chat kind of ties into feminism as well. Ken Wilder, who presented us with a $5 super chat, says, "Can one cut off contact with a plate immediately, or is an easing necessary in this climate of feminism, i.e. hashtag Me Too? Nothing worse than getting a scorned woman." I vehemently think that guys need to be very careful in the world right now, especially if they're a public figure. They got something to lose. They're a politician, they're a CEO of a big company, anything like that. Because I mean, keep your text messages, you know, keep a screenshot of it. Anthony, you've got some tips. I mean, you know, do you want to share some of your tips on this one?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, and I don't know if I actually want to share them publicly.
Okay, so let's save that for another time. But guys, cover your ass, really.
Cover your ass. Cover your ass. I'll say this too. Cover your ass. I'll say this. I tend to go hard cut, but I'm doing so in a way where I'm covering my ass because I'm really worried that I have a target on my back, like Rich is saying. So yeah. I'm trying to find a good balance with that. But his concern is definitely legitimate at this point.
I mean, if you look at the climate and the way that these attacks come at men, there's no holds barred. They don't even have to have evidence. They can make up shit from 20 years ago. If you look at
they literally write books on it and publish it on Amazon. This one has a PhD in psychology or something. Like
a PhD in psychology writes a book on how to destroy men. So nothing should be off the table for you guys. As long as you're not hurting anybody, cover your ass. Yep. I mean, it may not be legal, but cover your ass, because embarrassment trumps legality sometimes too, right?
Yeah, study the laws in your state too. Each state in America is different for this, as well as Canada too, and stuff. Like, understand the privacy laws in your state with stuff.
Yeah, and you should also do some pre-vetting of a chick before you decide to spend any time with her. I mean, if you're doing your stuff online, Google is your friend. You know, Facebook is a search engine. YouTube, like, there's a lot of search engines out there that you can copy and paste phone numbers, email addresses, names into, and get some background on who it is that you're dealing with before you go and get your ass Me Too'd or fired or doxxed or anything like that. So just be careful. We got another.
Rollo? Oh wait, Rollo, do you have something to put on that?
I was just going to say is that we're getting a lot of questions about spinning plates, and really that comes back to dating non-exclusively. And I think the most important thing guys need to adopt, at least as far as their mindset is concerned, is to be non-exclusive, to not consider monogamy until at least you're 30 years old. And even then, just kind of like, test the waters kind of thing. You do not know what your sexual market value peak is going to end up being when you say you hit like mid 30s or something like that. And this is a message for you, Anthony.
Dude, now that I hit 30, I have a lot more women. It's a question I haven't heard in a long time. Women are asking me, why are you single? Why are you single?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been single? It's
right.
I think they're sniffing that I've been single for a long time. I'm just banging chicks left and right.
Well, when women ask you when you're 30, why are you single? They're trying to sniff you out. They're trying to see what's wrong with you. They're hoping that you're going to save them the trouble of doing the digging, and that you're going to tell them it's because you've, I don't know, banged 200 women in the last year.
Like last Saturday. Remember last Saturday when we had that guy who called in, and I don't know if I really believe this or not, but the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I got a $3 million mansion, and I bring it home." And they, I'm trying to vet them, and I don't know if they really want me for me or my mother, all that bullshit. And it's just like, well, let's just say this: if you are like 35 years old, or even if you're 30 years old right now, When women get to that epiphany phase, when they get to be between 29 and 31 years old, that's when they have to really they're refiguring how they're going to think about themselves and how they're going to think about men at that point, because it's no longer about the party years. It's no longer about the cock carousel anymore. It's about, what am I going to do in the coming future? And so they're like, for instance, like maybe when you were, say, 25, Anthony, it might have been like, hey, let's get together. Yeah, great. Let's go bang. And you go and you do your thing. But now we need to talk. Where's this going? And it's,
I mean, usually they should get the sense that they're not going to get that far with me talking that way, but some of them just don't get it, or they're so hyper focused solipsistically on what they want, they're not even paying attention.
How old are they when they're asking those questions?
The chick that most recently asked me that, she was, how old was she? I think she was 30, like 29, 30,
yeah,
right in the wall, basically.
Phase, right? Yeah, so they're like getting to the point where their eggs are starting to dry up, and they're like trying to, basically get wifed up, right?
I haven't seen a girl 25 or under ask me that. So it's definitely chicks like epiphany phase, post-wall and stuff. But the question, even for that age group, it feels new, or it feels like it's happening more frequently. Like I didn't notice it before when I was 27.
Yeah. We got a super chat link here from somebody that posted, looks like a Reddit link, or it says the Red Archive. It says, how to get laid like a warlord, 37 rules to approaching model tier girls. Is this something that you're familiar with, Rollo?
No, I'm not. I think the guy just wants me to like read it and give me his opinion.
Yeah. I told him to simplify. He needs to simplify the question.
It's a long ass post. There's no way that we're going to have any time to read that. So
I will check it out. His name's Liam. I will check it out after we're done.
Okay. Cool. Rollo's take on this post. Another super chat from Ruben Sanchez for $10. Thank you. He doesn't have a question, but I appreciate the donation.
Thank you.
What else we got down here? That is the last super chat. So if you have any other, there's another one from Jim Scott for $2. Thank you, Jim. I think that's all of them. If I've missed you, did I miss anybody? No.
We got one guy for $2. He didn't put a question though. Jim Scott.
Yeah, got that one acknowledged. Okay. Do we have any questions in the most recent chats that we want to hit on that you guys can see?
I put that there in our chat right there. It says Tinder seems to actually benefit men with lower standards and actually screws women more in the long term, but just getting emotionally wrecked. Yes, I don't know what that means, but I'll tell you this right now. Tinder is a app designed to facilitate hypergamy. And if you think anything different, I've got a fucking bridge to sell you.
No, I think I get what he's getting at. Basically, if you look at Tinder like a cock carousel, like literally like at a carnival, Tinder's speeding up the ride for women.
Yes.
Like 20 years ago, you couldn't slut around this much, even if you tried. I mean, well, you could, but it would take more effort. Tinder's making that a lot easier. The girls can get fucked 7 nights a week easy with Tinder.
I just saw, and I'll see if I can post the link. I just saw like somebody linked this to me in Twitter, the very brief clip of this interview of this one professor, and I can't remember the guy who was interviewing him, but the guy was pretty much just saying that he threw out this example, right? There was a research study of these guys who were photographers, and photographers were told, you can print out one of your, pick out of all your pictures, find the one that's your favorite, and we'll print that one off for you in a nice, big full color thing, big poster size thing. But you pick that one out and you go with it and you stay with it. And then they told that to that's the control group. And then another control group, or another group, they told, well, you can pick out one of your favorite pictures, but you can change your mind all the way up to, and even after we have already printed your picture. So they're basically throwing out this idea that they're giving one control group no choice. They have to pick what they get and they go with it. And then they go and say, well, even after you've made your decision, you can change that again. And the people who had the hardest time with choice were the people, of course, who had more choice. And so the point of that whole experiment, or at least according to this guy, is that when people are presented more choices, or they are presented more avenues to get out of a bad decision, they end up taking longer to do things, such as like one of the reasons that we see men and women marrying at later and later ages right now is because there's this belief that even after you get married, it's okay because you can always opt out of it. You can, especially particularly if you're women, right? Okay, now this guy wanted to say, oh, it's both men and women. No, it is just women at this stage, because if you look at something like Tinder, it's giving women a choice of pretty much any guy that they want. Okay, so it's facilitating hypergamy in that sense, but it's also absolving women of any responsibility after that, because once you go and you say, okay, well, what were we just saying about men needing to be careful? Because if men try to opt out, then they can get themselves into trouble. But if women want to opt out, that is their quote unquote prerogative. And I think that to say that, well, there's only low quality women on Tinder. Well, I will tell you this right now, the guys that I've been working with, even the dudes that are anywhere between 45 and 55 years old who are divorced and they're getting back into the sexual marketplace right now, the first place they gravitate to is Tinder, because they think it's going to be easy. They think that that's going to, oh yeah, it's easy. I'll just find somebody on Tinder and I'll live happy. I restart my life again. Well, then they get on Tinder and they realize that it is not anything like that. I think you understand. Anthony knows the guy I'm talking about. Mike, one of my clients. Really, he is just, he was tried seeking arrangements and all this other stuff. And I'll tell you right now, it is all one-sided. And if you look at books like Dataclysm, or if you look at gendernomics like Black Label Logic, you will see that it is all one-sided, and it is not just quote unquote low quality women.
Yeah. I 100% agree. There are some great porn stars on Tinder, though. I banged a few. Also, quick announcement on speaking that seeking arrangement stuff. I got to check it out. Oh, here it is from B-Rob. So there's actually an attendee from the convention this year. I've known through his blog. It's like a sugar dating, like a website to teach men how to do salt dating, bang girls off seeking arrangements. He just finished, I think, the first copy of his book, and he sent it to me a couple days ago. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm gonna take a look at it. And he says it's about 100,000 words, and it's almost done, looks like. So if you want to get into seeking arrangements, that's coming out in a few weeks or months.
Yeah, B Rob's a cool dude. I was chatting with him that night that George was teaching us how to use the pipes.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Like the minute he started talking about it, I'm like, yep, this guy's even better than I am.
I see in the chat here, it says HBO has a new documentary on Tinder. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Cool.
All right. Do we get any other questions here? Oh, people are asking what the topic is for Saturday's Redman group. Has that been selected yet?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I don't think we have not really discussed that just as of yet, have we?
The best way to find out what the topic is.
What should it be? Somebody give us a suggestion.
Yeah, give us some suggestions in the comments. But the best way to find out and to stay on top of that is to follow the three of us on Twitter.
Yep.
And,
Let me say this. I'll say this too, guys. We should start, if you want to post suggestions for the Redman Group topics, show topics, go on reddit.com/r/Redman Group. Also in the video description, make a thread. Post out what your thoughts are for the upcoming show. Other fans will comment. I'll take a look at it. Rollo might see it. So if you have show suggestions, throw them in the comments on YouTube or on Reddit, the subreddit community. Good spot.
If you want to find me or you want to talk to me direct, I'm usually, of course, I'm available on Twitter, but my next most and my own blog. But if you want to find me after that, I will definitely be on the Reddit forum.
Cool.
We've got Sam on the broadcast. Does he have an announcement?
Sam, what did you want to say? Now, are you ready now, Sam? Oh, he's muted. Hang on, let me get him on. Unmute your mic, Sam.
Can we do it for him?
No, he has to do it on his end.
Okay, while he's doing that, we got a super chat from Carlos. He says, I agree with Rollo about Tinder being hypergamous, but since the standard is low for the modern soy boy, it doesn't take much to get laid, just being above those. So yeah, I mean, if you're a top shelf guy and you're in the sexual marketplace and you're strong, masculine, you've got high testosterone, you'll do well. There's no question about that. I mean, there's a lot of weak ass men out there with chin beards that are not having a lot of success, that go like full on MGTOWs when they're really incels. I
know. I think that's probably one of the most understated truths in really the sexual marketplace right now. It's not hard to separate yourself from, neckbeard soy boys.
Oh yeah. Super easy. Sam, what's going on, dude? You're on now.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. So I was thinking about somebody asked earlier if this was a Freemason thing or satanic or anything like that. It's exactly the opposite. Ivan has been flying to LA with me. This will be the third weekend in a row. And he said the biggest compliment he's gotten on his book, The 9 Laws, is from Swift. And that compliment was, that none of Ivan Thrun's book goes against or contradicts scripture. And back when I was in college, it was always, guys were always talking about, well, I want to marry a Proverbs 31 woman, from the Bible. So all the verses are about that woman, but there's only one verse about the husband. It's verse 23 out of more than 30 verses. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land, which means this guy has read the Rational Male and the 9 Laws. He's learned from Rich Cooper. He's been to the 21 Convention. He is obsessed with mastery of everything that makes him a man that is able to protect his family, his loved ones, and the whole world. He's making a difference in the world, this guy is. He's a leader respected at the city gates. I mean, he's a leader respected on YouTube and Twitter and the whole world, and doing what Anthony's trying to do. I've told y'all, I know that this is going to be filling stadiums around the world. And I really don't think you need to worry about all the attacks, because this is not against the God of the Bible, because what you're doing is promoting masculinity, and the Church of Satan is anti-masculinity. That is why this is rampant.
I got to drop a quick story here on this. Actually, I didn't tell you guys this. Right before I met Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin in Orlando about 2 months ago at this point, right before the convention, I actually was talking to this girl online, of course, right? And then there was this guy, he was maybe like 50 something and about my height. And I started talking about my YouTube channel. This chick was asking about it, right? And then this guy said, hey, like 21 Studios, are you Anthony? He actually knew me. And he turned out to be, he was some sort of pastor for a Christian church. Like, I don't know if it was Baptist or Methodist or something, but he was actually like some sort of leader in the church, like a pastor, like someone that would give sermons and stuff. And it was the first time I'd ever been approached by anyone who was any kind of religious leader like that. He's not some archbishop or something, but and he loved the channel. He loved what we do, all the guys on it and stuff. He knew everybody, the show, the Red Man Group and stuff. And it was a very brief conversation. It was maybe like 2 or 3 minutes I talked to him, but I was kind of like, it was just a moment for me. I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm not a Christian. I was raised Catholic, but otherwise I'm not a Christian. But all kinds of religious people, Jewish people and Christians love what we do. Red Man Group and all this stuff. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any other closing comments before we wrap up, Rollo?
I was just going to say, I saw this in the chat real quick. It says, I know Rollo's writing a book on this, but an episode on Christianity and the red pill would be awesome. I would like to do that.
Why do you get Tal Rock for that?
I was, well, it's funny you should say that, because just today I was talking to him on email. He is simply not going to do it. He just wants to be a writer. He does not want to do anything beyond what his blog is. He's happy to help me out with stuff. In fact, he's been instrumental in helping me with the 4th book. So his voice is going to get out there, but I'm going to be doing the speaking for him. But I would very much love to do that. In fact, I might, and I'm not sure that RMG is really the forum for that. So I'm considering doing something like that, maybe on my own channel. It just depends. I have to find the right guys to do it with, because it's one thing for me to, I could go out and just start saying, okay, here's all these different, just like what Sam was just saying right now. Here are all these different ways that Christianity or even Islam or Buddhism or whatever religion you want to talk about, here are the ways that it coincides with red pill thought and with conventional masculinity and conventional what was that? Oh, thanks.
Carlos, thanks for the super chat, buddy. Dave Rollo.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'll be good. Anyways, I was just going to, just a long story short, I think that I don't know that RMG would be the place for it unless we really set it up with the right guys, but I might do that on my own channel for a religion, just because I want to keep Red Man Group really about intersexual dynamics as opposed to politics.
Right. And if you guys aren't following or subscribed to Rollo Tomasi, make sure you do that on YouTube, because he is uploading. You're doing a show on Sundays with Pat, right?
I do what's called the Red Pill 101 on Sundays with Pat Campbell right now. That's primarily because as odd as it sounds, Pat is actually kind of a newbie when it comes to red pill stuff. So when we're on Saturdays, or excuse me, on Sundays, it's Red Pill 101. It's remedial kind of stuff. If you just picked up my first book and you're wondering, about the 9 iron rules of Tomasi, or if you're wondering what's hypergamy, or how do I get over one-itis, or, how do I kill the beta, that kind of stuff, like the basic stuff that's in the first book, I'm going to be talking about that in the Red Pill 101 parts of that. But then I'm going to do other things as well. So I'm going to do some solo stuff and some AMAs and maybe something on religion too.
All right. So on that note, this is kind of like a sample of what you guys will be getting on Patreon as the community grows on there. These will be private in the future going forward for the patronage. So again, if you like what we're creating, you're watching these shows, you're tuning in on Saturdays for the free stuff, we're going to keep doing those. But we'd like to do some exclusive Q&A sessions for a tighter, more close-knit community privately. So go support us on Patreon for the Red Man Group. There's a link in the channel itself, and I think I have it up here.
It's in the video description too on this.
Yeah, it's in the video description. I got it here as well, so I'll just paste it in the chat in case anybody wants to hit it there to link real quick. Keep an eye out on Twitter for the announcement on what the show is going to be on Saturday, and make sure you follow 21 Studios and Entrepreneurs in Cars.
Yep. We're doing 10 a.m. on Saturday too, right? This Saturday?
10 a.m. Saturday?
10 a.m. Saturday.
10 a.m.
All right. So I won't be on the panel this Saturday. I'll see you guys next week, but I hope you guys have an awesome show, and we'll catch you guys real soon, all right?
All right, man.
See you guys.
Peace. Ciao.
Adios.